Hello friends, welcome to tutorslearn.com. My name is Virender and in this course I'm going to teach you HTML. So I'm going to use Notepad for HTML and you can use any software you prefer. You can use Dreamweaver, I'm also having it. You can use Notepad++, I'm also having that one, but I prefer Notepad for HTML because well, HTML is a very easy language and you don't need very high level of skills for HTML, and anyone can do and code HTML. So let's get started. HTML stands for hypertext. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. So markup language there, language. Okay, so HTML stands for hypertext markup language and it's not an ordinary programming language like C, C++ or Java. It's not a programming language, don't get confused. It's a markup language. And why it is a markup language? Because it uses something called tags and attributes. So tags and attributes there. Now what is a tag and what is an attribute? Tags are basically things or HTML codes that define how a thing in HTML will be rendered or how it will be marked up. And attributes basically defines the property of tags. So there are two types of tags. One is the companion tag or container tags. So let me type container tags, and the other one is the empty tag or the standalone tag. So let me type empty. So container tags are those tags which are used in two places. So if you are having a container tag, then there should be an opening of that tag and closing of that tag. And if I told you a moment ago that tags are basically used in between angle brackets. So whatever you do to write tags is that you put your tags in between these two things. So for example, HTML is a tag and it should be put it in between these two angle brackets. If you write this like that, then the HTML is not going to understand it as an tag. So you must place another angle bracket here. Now you had used HTML and now you use slash HTML. And what does this means is that basically you're going to put every of your HTML code in between these two tags. So this is the opening HTML tag and this is the closing HTML tag, which denotes that HTML tag starts from here and the HTML tags ends here. So these types of tags are known as the container tag, as they contains other elements. For example, you can also use in between this a body tag, which is also a container tag. So as you can see that we had used another tag named body, which starts from here and ends from here. All the content of body will be placed in between these two things, and this also comes in between HTML tags. So that's why the container tags are also known as container tags, or they are also known as companion tags because they comes in companion or they comes in two. So that's what makes it a companion tag. Now about empty tag. Empty tags are basically those tags which doesn't have opening and a closing tag. So let me give an example of BR. So whenever you use BR, and BR is used for basically for breaking rows, that is to put your text or element in the next line. So these tags you don't use BR like BR and then slash BR. It's meaningless. So you only use BR like this, or you can use it like this. So this is how you use BR, and this is an empty tag because it can't contain any other tag in between it. And how can it contain? It's just a single tag. There is no opening and closing. So that was the container tag, and that was something like empty tags. Okay, so enough for tags and attributes. Now I told you that tags are basically things which are used for marking up the things. So if you write something in between tags and you would like to behave or to be displayed in a certain way, for that you use tags. Okay, now let's get started with our basic HTML body structure. So, and by the way, HTML is where we use HTML. HTML is used for creating web documents. So whenever you open internet and you visit websites, you will see that they will be having a .html format, or they can also have a .html format there. So these two format represents that the file is of an HTML type. So most of the websites today are, you can see, will be having these two formats, these two extensions, and they represent HTML files. HTML files again is used for creating web documents in internet. So let's get started with our basic structure of HTML. We write HTML and we write /HTML. I told you that it's necessary to close it. And now let me type head and /head there, and a body and a /body. So there. Oops. So now every HTML code will be placed in between these things. The head tag defines the header of your HTML web page, and the header will be defined in between these two tags. And the rest of your web page document will be displayed in between the body tags. So this is the head tag. Now let me use another tag in between head tag, which is something like title tag. Title tag is used for giving titles to your website. So whenever you open Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, you will see that there is a tab, and in the tab there is a text which is basically the title, or you can say the heading of your web page. So that's was given by the title tag. That's why where the title we use a title tag. Let's give it a name, my first website /title. Okay, so that was the title. Now let's give it a body and let me type. This is my first. Okay, let me type. This is just awesome, and this is my website body. So okay, so we had just created an HTML file. Now we are going to run it. So first you need to make sure that you had an folder here. Create a new folder, name it HTML. It's very important to categorize things in a better way. So I always do that. You should always do the same. Now let's save it. File, go, and go it and save as. Well, I already saved it by the name first.html, and I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to go to the desktop, and in the desktop there I will be having okay, let me just save it in the desktop first. Okay, there, first.html or html, whatever you want to use. I told you, go all. Okay, save. Now let's check it out. Okay, let me refresh. There, can you see the web page? Because I can't. Okay, there is the page. Now let's open it with our Google Chrome, and let me zoom it a bit so that you can see it clearly. So as you can see, this is just awesome, and this is my website body is the thing that we had written in our body. So that's how we use our body. Now title, my first website. You can see my first website comes in the tab, and that's where the title is used for giving the title to your website. So also let me do this, save it, alt tab, refresh it, and you can see it's still the same. And why it is still the same? This is because that the HTML doesn't understand white spaces, or you can say white spaces or breaking lines. So what you need to use for this is something called BR that I told you. So you can do it like this, or you can do it like this. So save it, alt tab, refresh it, and you can see now the content is in the next line. Use a BR again and it will make it into the next line. So like this. So this is the something that I need to teach you. Okay, so yeah, one more thing before I end this tutorial is that HTML is case not sensitive. So it's very unsensitive language, and by unsensitive I mean that if you write HTML, or sorry, oops, let me type had, and let me type here HEAD. So it's basically the same. It won't change anything for you. Save it there. Let's check it out. And see, nothing has been changed. Let me type it to my first. Save it, alt tab, refresh, there, my first. So this is how you do things. So basically or or had in capital, it's all same. You can use it in any way, whatever the letter case can be of any type, uppercase, lowercase, combination of both. You can do it in HTML. So that was something. Now I think it's enough for this tutorial. I showed you how to create your first program in your HTML, and there is a lot more that I need to teach you. So keep it watching and keep it learning, and I will see you in the next tutorial.